I was 17. And I wanted the tattoo so bad, I didn't even care what it was. I was in such a rush. And I went to the only tattoo parlor that was open. I don't give a damn what it was. I just wanted something. I wanted to have ink on my skin.
Tattooing cuts through the stigma, it cuts through all social classes, and tattooing has become the transformational ritual of choice.
Each tattoo is a different experience and a different chapter in my life, and it's all, you know, it's all symbolic.
I've been infatuated with tattoos ever since I was 3 years old. I have a picture at home when I got Cracker Jack tattoos all over my arms. My 18th birthday, that's all I ever wanted to do was get a tattoo.
It's a way of stating that we're different from this guy and this guy and this guy, because we kind of end up being social security numbers. Tattoos keep us individualized.
Hi, this is Beatrice with Tattoo Nation, and today is my big day because I'm getting a new tattoo. And this is the man who will torture me today. This is Jeremiah Barba. How long have you been tattooing for?
About 5.5 years now. My mom taught me how to tattoo, actually.
Oh, your mother is a tattoo artist?
Yeah, she's been tattooing for about 20 years.
So I asked you to draw something for me.
Got it right here.
According to my tradition, I like to have my artist pick my tattoo or draw it for me. And this is what I'm gonna get.
So I just mix up the traditional style, like Sacred Heart, and try to twist it up a little bit, make it more new age.
Can you tell us a little bit about your workspace? Because for many people, a tattoo shop is a mystery. And these are your machines here. You have like 3 different ones.
Yeah, basically, you kind of.
What is this one for example?
Like coloring and shading.
Okay.
And then basically you got this one's kind of for like small coloring and also for thicker lines. And then this one's for your like small liner and small details. And you have all 3 of those just so you can do all ranges of the tattoo, almost kind of like paintbrushes.
And these are all the colors that you got there?
Yeah, there we go.
Oh, you mix your colors as well?
Yeah. Sometimes you can't get them all out of the bottle.
And what's up with that pile of Vaseline?
The Vaseline, we use that to help the needle kind of runs through the skin and helps your skin from drying out.
I also see that you're kind of like sticking the little...
Yeah, that's a little trick. You kind of keep the ink caps in place, just dip them in there and
So that's where you put your colors in?
Yeah. This is our power supply for running the machines. Basically hooks
this is your little thing here.
Yeah, you got the clip cord and the foot pedal.
Oh, the foot pedal. So basically you're like when you hit the gas in the car?
Exactly.
I got it. What's going to happen next?
Basically, we're going to take this thing and make a stencil of it.
What is a stencil?
It's a carbon copy of the initial drawing that we put on your skin, and it kind of gives us like a dot-to-dot to follow.
Like that stuff that you have in the, what was it called? Bazooka Joe or something in the chewing gum? And you kind of like moisten it and you peel it off?
Exactly, like a fake tattoo.
Okay.
But we just put the lines on there, and then that gives us something to follow, and then we just color it in after we line it.
Okay, cool. Wondering how long it's going to take until my top will fall off.
Okay, you ready?
Bring it on.
Here we go.
Check out this cat, ladies and gentlemen. Say hello to Trigger. Contestant number 4.
So tell me a little bit about your whole look. What was your deciding factor in getting all this ink?
I actually just started getting tattoos when I was younger, putting actually gang stuff on me when I was younger, and ended up just getting tattoos. I don't even have a reason. I don't know really why. I just started getting more and more things. I'd see something I liked and get it, and progressed into this.
How much of your body is tattooed?
I guess probably about 85%, I think. 80%, something like that. My back is actually, the letters are Tahunga and TVR, it's the gang I'm from, and then the rest is like The Exorcist. It's just a good movie that I like. Just basically evil things. I don't know. I kind of got stuck on the evil theme of demons and stuff like that. Now I moved on to my leg. I'm kind of doing like a religious theme. So I'm putting like every religion: Buddha, Ganesh, the Jewish star, Sikh religion. I got Jesus. And I'm just gonna put a question mark on my foot. I figure one of them has to be right.
Is there any part of your body you won't tattoo?
I'm gonna tattoo everywhere. My wife doesn't want me to tattoo anymore on my face here, but besides that, I'm gonna tattoo all the way to my fingernails and toenails.
Your first tattoo was at age
12.
12.
Mm-hmm. In a guy's front lawn, just got out of prison. It's a homemade gun. He bought me a 40 of Mickey's to relax. It's a $20 tattoo. And right before we started, his wife had actually came out and some chola. She was like, "Where you getting your tattoo, man?" And I was like, "Oh, just right here."
The word tattoo actually comes from Tahitian, the word tatau, which means to mark.
Throughout history, tattoos have always been a marker of where you have been, what family you're from, what station you hold for the tribe or for the village.
You got them when you came into adulthood, when you got married, to signify the battles that you'd fought in. So, over the course of your life, your skin comes to display an entire history of who you are.
It's all about rites of passage. I found that there were really big learnings that I had coming through different experiences in my life, and I wanted to signify those. My tattoo, the big piece on my back, is a culmination of learnings represented by symbols from all over the globe and interwoven together into a dragonfly shape. But all the meanings in it are very distinct.
Tattooing can be dated as far back as ancient Egypt. A lot of the mummies that they've found have tattooed markings on their skin, so that takes it back to 2000 BC. You can find tattooing in just about every ancient society, from Thrace to Gaul to Greece. The Romans also used tattoos. They tattooed their criminals and slaves for identification purposes, much like the Nazis used tattoos to identify the Jewish concentration camp prisoners in World War II. In both of these cases, the tattoo's purpose was identification, but it was also a form of degradation to keep them separate from the rest of society, to make them a number or a mark rather than a person. When you come to the Middle Ages, although the tattooing tradition continues in tribal societies in Asia, particularly Japan, it really kind of drops out of Western society. A couple of things really brought tattooing back into Western civilization in the 19th century. The first being James Cook's exploration of the South Pacific in 1769. While he was exploring Tahiti and Borneo, New Zealand, Polynesia, all over Malaysia, he came into contact with the tribal tradition of tattooing. And he brought a lot of tattooed natives back to Europe with him. Another thing that contributed was the British Empire. They had this huge naval and merchant empire with ships going all over the world, and all these sailors who were suddenly being exposed to new cultures, many of which had tattoo traditions. And it kind of became a tradition for the sailors to get tattoos to mark their ports of call. So if you met a sailor and he had a dragon tattoo, that was a sign that he'd been to China.
These are to protect me from drowning.
Are you afraid of water?
No, it's just when you fall overboard. This is the water line. So if you fall overboard, the swallows will fly you out and you don't drown. Like sailors have roosters and pigs on their feet because they don't like water. It's all part of the tattoo tradition.
This tradition carried on through World War II and the American Navy. When our sailors were in the South Pacific, a lot of them got tattooed, but it was in a more Americana style that became known as Sailor Jerry. After the war, the practice of tattooing really goes underground again. You go through the 50s, 60s, and 70s, and tattoos become almost synonymous with rebellion. They're a separation from society. They're a sign of deviance. You have a lot of bikers.
I bought my first Harley Davidson in 1978. To celebrate that, I got my first tattoo. And then I got my next tattoos when I paid it for it, when I paid it up.
The juvenile delinquent types of the 1950s, the punk rock movement.
I got my first tattoo 14 years ago in London. It was in '89. It was like punk movement was on the way out, but it was still predominant. So I had a lot of fun. I got it in a basement in Kensington Market.
tattoos become marginalized and niched again for a really long time, until the late 1980s, when a lot of popular cultural figures and socially significant people in the media start to get tattoos. People like Johnny Depp, Pam Anderson, every other basketball player, tons of rock and roll stars. So tattoos become more visible. They become in your face, unavoidable.
With so many icons having tattoos, and so much of our culture is a pop culture, we try and emulate those which we hold in high esteem. Therefore, people have jumped on that bandwagon. And in the past 8 years, I've seen tattooing increase dramatically.
As of right now, 30% of the US population between the ages of 18 and 36 are tattooed.
Hello. Hey, I saw you. I have to ask you some questions. What's your name?
Kai.
Moving on to tribal, the first contestant, Kai Christensen. Kai, come on up.
You have a lot of ink.
Yeah, I have one tattoo all over. I got my first tattoo, I awarded it to myself when I graduated from medical school.
When was that?
Back in the 50s.
And you just kept going. That's really cool.
Take it off!
That's amazing stuff. And your legs all the way down. You're almost completely covered up. What happens when you're completely covered?
Oh, you may rework, make it better.
Do you think you ever get tired of tattoos?
Probably not.
Give it up for Kai.
How are you feeling? How does it feel right now?
I'm spaced out. Yeah.
What do you mean spaced out?
It's just like, I don't know, once this needle is in my skin, I'm just like floating around. I don't know. It's hard to explain. It's like you're in a trance.
Does it hurt?
It does. Yeah, a little bit. But actually, when I think about it, like the most relaxed I usually can get is when I get a tattoo. Because I'm just getting a buzz from it. Your body is reacting to it. Your body chemistry reacts to tattoos, like to the pain and to the needle. It's like taking drugs, but it's natural. It's your own body. Like when people take amphetamines or they take opium or like heroin, you already have that in your body. And getting tattooed releases these things that make you feel like calm and just puts you like in a really relaxed state. I just remembered a little story about pain. The tattoo artist told me, who gave me my first tattoo when I was 17. And he told me that he once tattooed a woman for many, many hours who didn't even make a face. She was just totally like cool. And guess what? After she was done, she fainted and passed out. She totally lost consciousness, and he explained to me that it's really important that when you have pain that you let it go and that you like don't try to like suppress it, you know? And because it can just totally backfire and it just knocks you out, it takes over and then you're just gone, you know? I'm pretty mellowed out. I'm just like, but let's see, maybe I'm gonna scream.
You ready to continue?
Yeah.
All right. Just let me know if you need a drink.
Who's your artist?
Mikey Montoya from Inflictions.
And are you using one artist or are you going to...
He did all my tattoos.
You trust him?
Yes.
It's a very unique time in history right now. It's kind of a renaissance of art. I've never seen in any art form that I've ever been in this much of a response for live art. I mean, you go to a city, there's 10, 20, 30 shops that are live art. People creating art for a living. It never happened before in the history of the planet.
Our next guest is an award-winning artist, proud owner of Vintage Tattoo Art Parlor in Highland Park, Mr. Barba. So tell us, how'd you get started in this whole tattoo business?
I actually moved to New York to do some graffiti.
Yeah.
Ended up doing airbrushing for a lot of hip-hop artists and stuff. Wanted a tattoo. Looked up this guy's name in the phone book. He's pretty famous, so I was like, take my chance. Go down there. I was just so mesmerized by his shop and the way he ran things that I instantly knew I wanted to be a tattoo artist. You know, when you learn how to tattoo, it's an apprenticeship. No, we're friends. I mean, he's really cool about it. It took a while for him to actually accept me and stuff, but now he is. But he was teaching me, even though he told me to get lost, he would still show me stuff, and I kept going back. I was persistent, and I saw how everything he did, the placement was perfect, and the colors were perfect, and he didn't shortchange anybody. Now I own a street shop. There's two different types of shops. There's a custom shop and a street shop. I own a street shop, but we turn out custom quality.
I do a lot of custom work, like 80% of it.
Custom work is when you allow an artist to completely make something unique and original, either from an idea of yours or an idea of theirs, and place it on your body.
It's a little more challenging. Sometimes I get flash work.
Flash art is when you go into a tattoo studio, you'll see it on the walls. It's a standard thing that anybody can have done.
Flash is what a lot of people get. It's easy, it's quick, and it's cheaper.
There's, you know, every single thing that walks into my shop and walks out of my shop has to be perfect, whether or not I do it. So my name goes behind everything that walks out of my shop, whether I do it, anybody else. So everything has to be exactly right. And if it's not, I get really furious.
Who did your artwork?
His name is Todd Hang. He owns a shop in Fullerton, California called Aces High. He does great work. I send everybody I know to him. And I went to every shop, you know, locally in Southern California, and I couldn't find anybody that I thought was better. I also went to a lot of tattoo conventions and looked.
How long did you think about who you will go to get your artwork done?
About 2.5 years.
My name is East. I'm from Singapore. I've been tattooing for like 2 years, but I started off as difficult, you know. Yeah, I don't do a lot of tracing. I do a lot of freehand. Yeah, we don't really use stencils and like pictures on the wall that much. We just take a marker and just draw it on them, and there it is. You know, it just comes out like that. You know. Yeah. So I'm trained the hard way.
What is your style?
I like Oriental, traditional style. You know, more of dragon, fishes, flowers, waves, and wind. Tattooing, where it come from, there's like different history of tattooing. You know. Like for where I come from in Asia, it emphasizes more on Japan, on how the ancient way of tattooing, the taburi. They have like a long metal stick with the needle at the tip, soldered to the tip. It's different from a tattoo machine that you just press the pedal and then the machine goes like that, you know. But you have to use your arm to do it. Well, I would prefer to do custom work. I like to do big pieces. I just start off with a character, and then it takes sessions. You know? For a tattoo that big, it could take like up to 6 months to complete. Every time he comes in, you know, the idea grows. You know, so he might come in for this character, so I do the character, and then the next time he comes in, there'll be background, and then I keeps on adding it, you know, until it's completely full. You know, so there is no like. You have only like one image in your head, you know, like, okay, this is how the tattoo is gonna be, you know. But every time he comes in, the image gets better, you know. So you can only tell when it's complete. Yeah, and it's really hard to get that on customer because well, I don't blame them for that, you know, because basically they have to put a full trust on you, you know. But we don't get that a lot.
Mostly it was a matter of if you're gonna do something, you should do it right. You know, if I'm going to make this dragon, I wanted to make sure that the dragon had everything in it that I wanted. I wanted the scales, I wanted the detail in the head, I wanted the detail that's in the village, and the smaller a tattoo gets, the less detail it can have. And so I wanted to use my entire back as a canvas so that I didn't limit my tattoo artist in any way, so that he could do the tattoo to the best of his abilities, to the best of his potential, and I could get everything out of it that I wanted.
The primary reason why I got into tattooing was I was an artist as a child. And I saw there was quite a bit of an autonomy in being a tattooer and in having tattoos. It's the exteriorization of your soul is what I believe. It's kind of laying out a roadmap of who you have been, what you've chosen yourself to be, and what you're going for in the long run. And it keeps you honest. You know, with the advent of laser removal and things like this, people believe that they can get tattoos and have them removed and kind of hide who they were or the choices that they made. And I don't believe in that. I believe in your choices are yours, and you have to be honest about your choices. And all the work that I have is pretty much large work. Like I consider one arm one canvas, and that's what I encourage with most of my clients is if you're going to do something, do it large enough so that you can see it for the rest of your life, and it's going to kinesthetically flow around the body to generate a line for your body for the rest of your life. A lot of the tattoos that I do are black graphic work.
And I really think that the Polynesian style of black work is really beautiful tattooing.
The Polynesian style of tattooing is to mix the inks, to mix the black inks, and then they have a small tool. It's shaped like a tiny rake. They dip that into the ink and place it on your skin and pound it with a rock or a hammer to create the design. They use the black ink as the positive space and your skin as the negative space.
And the huge part of that is making it fit the body so your body looks good forever. No matter if you gain or lose weight, the tattoo still imparts some sort of flow in the body, and that's a big thing. Before I was a tattoo artist, I was a nurse. And so I have a history of taking care of people, client care. And one of the things that I really admire about being a tattooer is you take people through this experience where they're trying to grow. They're trying to grow as a person, trying to get a handle on what's going on in some fashion. Whether they're trying to be meaner than other people, or be prettier than other people, or be cooler than other people, it doesn't really matter. They're still on some sort of excursion, some sort of journey, and I get to take them through that process. And it's fantastic watching people go from one side to the other side in just a short, expansive time.
Hi, I'm here at the Body Art Expo at Pomona, and I just met Jennifer. Hi, Jennifer.
Hi, how you doing?
You are a heavily inked woman.
Yeah, I am. Almost, well, a little over 600 hours.
Tell us something about your tattoos.
In 1989, I started getting tattooed. I saw the first tattoo I ever wanted when I was 11, and I waited, you know, until I could get it, you know, when I came of age and I could get it. I held on to that one design, and I mean, I knew it was something that I really, you know, it just was deep within me for as long as I could remember. I always wanted to be a tattooed person.
But you don't just have ink, you also are a tattoo artist.
Yes, I am.
This is some of Jennifer's work right here.
This is one of my best clients. This is Gary, and we've been working on him for a little over a year. He has a Native American theme, and we've pieced together a lot of different images that he's brought to me. And, you know, once we start going in this direction, you know, now I find things, and, you know, it's just really been a really good synthesis of this coming together. And these are his ancestors. So it's a tribute to that Native American spirit.
I read this nice little saying about actually like some Samoan like tribe leader said that basically everything can be taken away from you, like all your possessions and everything you have, but the tattoos that you have on your skin, they are yours and they cannot be taken away, and they're yours forever. And I think that's part of it. It's something that you own and that belongs to you. I think in a world like today where things just come and go and everything is so superficial and consumed, and people change their hair colors, and next year something else is fashion. And I think that's what fascinates, what scares people about tattoos at the same time is the fact that they're there forever and you take it to your grave. If somebody decides to get a tattoo, it's like exposing something very personal to the world. You know, people always say, "Oh, you want to hide yourself, you're hiding, and you use it as a shield." But it's actually exactly the opposite, because you're turning your inside out and you're documenting whatever is on your mind or in your soul, on your skin, and it's there for everybody to see. I wish people would step away from that cliche that tattoos are tough and rough, because it's not. It's not. If you ask people why they get tattoos, you hear, my mother died, my friend died, it reminds me of a horrible experience, it reminds me of a beautiful experience, and these are all very deep, deep things. And how many people say, oh, because I'm such a tough guy, I need a tattoo? That's crap. That's how I feel about it. It's just mine, and it's like a companion through my life.
I'm never ashamed to walk around with my tattoos, because it's who I am, what I am.
For people who have tattoos, it's a representation of themselves on their skin. It's an expression, it's an artistic expression.
It's just the whole artistic movement, because my whole life revolves around art, painting, drawing, writing poetry, makeup art, everything. So if I was going to put something on my body, I'd want it to be something that I spent hours in designing, so that it would be personal for me. I have a design I did on my shoulder. It's my birthstone, my zodiac birthstone, and just a design. People go, well, aren't you going to hate those when you're older? I'm like, no, it's my artwork. Why would I?
To me, all my tattoos, they mean something, The one on my front here is from my teacher, which I will never see him again. And this is from my buddy back home, that I really learned a lot from him as well, because he's my senior. People that I always remember that helped me.
To me, piercings and tattoos go back to my favorite saying, to thine own self be true. Myself changes and morphs every moment, as does everybody else's. And sometimes it's great to go back. I have a piece on my skin that's like a diary. But when I'm 85 and that's sagged a little bit, it might be nice to go back and remember the experience as it happened, exactly how it happened, and see how those personality traits have become more ingrained or how they have slipped out of my personality. So it's just sort of a reference point.
What is your favorite tattoo that you have?
The one that my daughter did. She was 4 years old, and I stuck a machine in her hand and told her to write her name.
Can you see that?
She threw it right here. Sierra.
Sierra, yeah, that's real nice.
Yeah, it was
her first.
She was laughing like a little madman when she was doing that, because she knew it hurt, and she was having a ball. Now she's dying to do another one.
I think if you're going to ink your body up, it should be something that's going to be lasting and something that's going to mean something to you. This is one of my very special ones. With MBK, and me and my brother got matching tattoos. My brother's everything to me, and MBK stands for my brother's keeper. I mean, he's pretty much the only family that I have. He's in college, and I just can't wait for him to get home. I'm setting up things for him, so when he gets out here, stay would be a little bit more comfortable, and I can keep him here.
Well, life has many experiences. I mean, especially for me. I mean, each tattoo is a different experience and a different chapter in my life, and it's all, it's all symbolic for me. So I think as I go through life and have little adventures, I'd like, mementos of that.
My husband and I were both hairdressers. His name was Michael Dye, and I was his assistant, and we were in Palm Springs. And one day we were bored, and he carved out a spot on my head and said, how would you like to get your tattoo tonight? He took me out to dinner, and we got the tattoo. I've enjoyed every moment I've had it. My husband is no longer with us, and so it's a tremendous memory of him that I have forever.
Now you dedicated your chest to a very special person, and I would like to show the camera.
Yeah, this chest piece, I did it when I married my wife. I don't like to wear jewelry too much, so I just, decided instead of getting a wedding ring, I'd just get her name tattooed on me,
She doesn't have a ring?
No, she does, and she also has my name tattooed on her. I figure it's gonna last forever, so I think it's a lot better than a ring.
So you have faith in love?
Yeah, I do.
Now, I see 3 portraits on your back. Would you please tell us who it is?
That one's my daughter, this one's my son, and then the middle one is my 3rd child who passed away.
He was born on your birthday? When is your birthday?
December 17th.
It must be so hard for you too.
Yeah, it is still hard, but...
Does it help you deal with your grief?
Kind of. It makes me feel like he's with me always, you know what I mean? Because he's on my back, so.
How do other people feel about that you express your grief on your skin?
I never got any complaints.
I did have a pretty crazy life. I got into drugs and alcohol and all sorts of crazy teenage stuff.
How old were you then?
I was about 16 to 21. I ended up getting sober when I was about 21 years old. That's when I really started to get tattooed, was when I got sober. My first tattoo was in memory of my boyfriend who committed suicide during all the craziness. Then I decided to get my whole back done. So I have a large fairy on my back coming out of a lotus flower. To me, it kind of symbolizes like this guardian angel on me at all times. And the writing on the top of my neck, it says "Saved by Grace." It's sort of a constant reminder that I'm just really lucky to be alive. I put myself in a lot of crazy situations, and I'm just really lucky that I'm even here today. And for that, I'm really grateful. To me, that's what grace means.
Everything, is on me. It's memory. It's something. They can look ugly, but it doesn't matter. I got a lot of people asking me, why don't you cover that tattoo up? Why don't you fix it? And I was like, you know what? Just leave it alone. Just leave it as it is. The only person that is going to touch these tattoos is the person that started it. Yeah, and I really mean it, because it's so precious to me,
Hi, I'm here at the Body Art Expo in Pomona. And to my right, I have a beautiful young lady named Anne. Hi, Anne.
Hi.
Now, you have some beautiful ink, and I want to see it, so you can't get around it.
Where do you want to start? This was actually my first tattoo when I was barely 17. And the sides and the middle are verses from the Tao Te Ching, and the central character was, at the time, kind of like a goddess figure of the embodiment of where I wanted to be spiritually.
Let's talk about your arm. This looks wild.
Most of them are characters from storybooks that I grew up on or discovered later in life. Little reminders on how much fun every day can be, I guess.
Wow, this is beautiful.
Tempus fugit, it's Latin for time flies.
This is an extremely painful spot.
Definitely the worst. I have a fair amount of tattoos, and that was the worst.
And I see a rose on the other side.
Yeah, we're still gonna add by any other name in Latin under this side. I use a lot of text in my tattoos. They're kind of personal memos. That's what's so fun about tattoos. You can be very aware of your body, but you don't take it with you when you leave. So why not do what you can to express yourself with it while you're here,
So how's it going?
Sucks right now. Don't worry about it.
That was a good one.
What?
That was a good one, huh?
That was my first scream. Oh boy. If you look at ancient tattoos 2,000 years ago in Polynesian islands like Fiji, New Zealand, Samoa, all these places, Hawaii. I mean, the tattoos are the status of a man or a woman in society was measured by the amount of the tattoos, because it required a lot of strength and you have to be brave to do this. And nobody would dare to not get a tattoo because you would be abandoned from society. And I think it's part of it. If you want to get a tattoo, you have to deal with the pain. And I don't think people get tattoos because of the pain. Otherwise, they could just say, oh, why don't you hit my head with a baseball bat? It hurts a lot. It's not about that. It's like, you want this? You gotta suffer. Yay! Christmas. That feels so good. My skin is like on fire. Sore muscles. Naming sensation. That's how it feels after a couple hours. And And I haven't gotten anything in a long time. I have to get used to it again. So, although I think that over the years you get resistant, the pain doesn't bother you that much, but every time you get a new tattoo, it's a new thing. And it's always a new spot, and everybody's body is different. You know, some people have pain when they get their back tattooed. Other people say, no, it didn't hurt me. Other people, like Jeremiah said earlier, men have big issues in the neck. And girls are fine with it. I'm like in between that. It's okay and it's not okay, but I'm really excited. I'm sure it's gorgeous. So, but I haven't seen it yet. I actually took the mirror off the bathroom wall when I had to go to the bathroom because I really don't want to see it until it's done. I haven't seen the stencil, I haven't seen anything. I'm just trusting. I put my skin and my life in his hands. I know it hurts, but I would definitely do it again.
Do you think that having a tattoo puts you on the outside of other parts of society?
Well, I think for a lot of people that's the point. Our society is so homogenous. I mean, everything is the same. Same houses, same clothes, same cars, just different colors. And I think that getting a tattoo for a lot of people is a way to separate themselves from that, to make something unique and individual about them, something different.
I'm Jason Price. They call me Mr. Modifier. I've been in the business about 14 years. I pierce. I don't tattoo by trade, just by art. I cut and I brand and I flesh hang. I got my facial tattoos to kind of represent getting off drugs, kind of killing the normal self. Kind of like the time you're all screwed up, whacked in your mind on drugs, and you just go, why? I want to quit. I want to quit. I want to quit. I want to quit. How do I quit? What is wrong with me? And I was in this business. It's like either do what I'm doing now or be a mover. So I decided to do this, and I was like, how do I trap myself in this world? And so I tattooed my face. I put the eye of Ra there to protect me from evil. And the circles, and this right here is a little Samoan warrior thing, you know. But since that day, dude, I quit using drugs, and I started living my life more for art. My tattoos, they make me stand out. Where I go places, people stare. And when I walk past them, they turn around, man. You build a claws to it. But they're looking at you, man, and they're just like going, that guy's experienced something. And some people look at you and they'll be like, and you can feel them thinking the worst thoughts in the world. And you just kind of look at them and you stare them at the eye. And I tell you what, you see how big of a pussy some people are because, you know, they won't even stand up for their own thoughts. I speak my thoughts while they hold them in and live in a fear-based life. I go into it thinking, oh, well, I can get my ass kicked and be okay with it. But I'm not going to back down or apologize for being who I am. You know, they follow a mold. They're following a cookie pattern. I'm trying to be a mutant, man. You know, I really pissed my mom off, you know.
Some people will look at me strangely once they find out that I have a tattoo, or they'll make certain assumptions about my character that they might not have made before they knew. Personally, I don't really mind that. I mean, most people who think that way aren't people I want to spend a lot of time with anyway, just because the judgment based solely on something so superficial, just based solely on a look, it's not something I believe in.
I wanted to talk to you about the job that you actually do.
Oh, right. I'm a professional dominatrix. I also am a well-known fetish model and performance artist. My favorite shows to do involve bloodletting and piercing. One of my favorite shows to do is the grotesque burlesque, which is a mockery of traditional beauty. And I have a very elaborate costume. It changes, but it usually consists of many beautiful ostrich feathers and a hoop skirt. And I take feathers, colored feathers, and I glue them to the ends of hypodermic needles, usually about 21 or 22 gauge.
So you call it the striptease performance?
Yeah, well, yes, because I pierce my skin all the way up my arms and around my breasts, and I slowly strip the needles out of my body to expose my skin and also exposing the blood in the process. So at first they're kind of bewitched by this glamorous vision of all these feathers and gems, and then by the time they realize what I'm doing, it's too late. They've already fallen under my spell. And every time I do performances, I get this rush, because I feel that every time the blood lets, it kind of like cleanses my body and purges it of any kind of negative feelings that I'm feeling. Obviously, I'm not going to cut myself and drink blood and all of that. That's not really my game. It's more about just the ritual, the kind of like controlled suffering. Tattooing is the same thing, because I have a really big fetish for needles. The actual act of getting tattooed is very erotic to me. It's certain strokes might hit a right nerve, and it's a very erotic feeling. I haven't chosen to get myself completely covered with tattoos because A, it's expensive, B, I don't really want all of my skin covered. I only want up to my elbow here and like certain spots in my body, and none on my legs. So I'm picking and choosing wisely and just waiting until I usually meet someone, and I'll have the tattoo done according to their personality. Like if I really want them to dig into my skin, I have to want them to do it to me. It's just basically something I use to express myself. I don't use them to impress other people. I really don't like it when people get tattoos just for the sole purpose of shock value, because I think I'm much more shocking just in my own, the whole way I look at life. I have absolutely no desire to, be apologetic about the way that I am.
I feel that I'm open but not always approachable, as anybody who has any kind of body modification will tell you. That's really put offish to most of the public.
When I was 25, I moved to San Francisco, and I was given to a master as a present. It's just the dynamics of how relationships like that work. The slave has no rights, no say-so. The master has complete control and makes all final decisions on what his property says or does. As soon as I was given to him, I was marked with having my nipples pierced. They weren't pierced, and that was the first logical place to pierce. I had no tattoos, no piercings. I was a virgin. I currently wear 14 piercings, active all the time. I have 24 total. I have my navel, my nipples, PA, frenum, scrotum. I would like to have my whole arm tattooed in symbols representing different parts of my life, but I don't think it has anything to do with the enjoying the pain of it. I mean, to me, it's more spiritual. It's an extension of my individuality, my creativity.
It's a bit freaky.
It is, and I love it.
It's like a primitive way of mine coming out. Like some people sit there and go, oh, well, you inherited that from your great-great-grandmother who was from England or Italian. Oh, well, what if I inherited something from Mr. Neanderthal Price? You know what I'm saying? And something that says, I want to be a part of something. And you know what? Just like tribes, everybody has their different markings. You can kind of tell. Tattoo people are more unified with an easier accepting of saying, okay, that guy's got to be cool. Because you know what? He's gone that far, and I have something in common with him. Something truly in common. Versus saying, hey, oh yeah, we work the same job, we work at McDonald's, but do you really love working at McDonald's? Hell no. You know? I always say your body's a temple, and we just kind of graffiti on it.
You're all done.
Oh, thank you. I'm dying. I can't believe it. Oh.
And then you can't focus it back on?
I'm like dizzy a little bit. Okay, so I'm gonna look at it now, right? Officially. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh. Holy shit. I love you. I'm gonna come back.
Alright.
You know, like the cats that you feed once?
Yeah.
They always come back.
Cool. Well, that's good. I'm glad you like it.
I don't like it. I love it.
Cool.
I have to look again.
and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, get ready for the most awesome show of the summer and the hottest show of the year.
What is the future of tattoos?
Well, I thought it would grow and grow and grow and kind of level off. What's happening now is the quality of the art is increasing because a lot of the young artists are going to art school and they're learning they like the tattoo lifestyle, the gypsy pirate lifestyle, and they open a shop. There's just more shops and more shops. Modesto, California, 6 years ago had 2.5 shops, 3 shops. They have 42 now. It's almost like hair salons. I mean, they're good ones and they're bad ones, and some have certain. I mean, you go to a certain person, and I go to a certain person, and that's an identity. So I don't think there's the big money in it there used to be, but I think it's not stopping. It's definitely growing. It's a very unique time in history right now. It's kind of a renaissance of art. The interesting thing is, it's happening here in LA, but you go to the most remote village and they're doing it too, and it's not like we're all connected by telephones. It's kind of one of those.
You think there's a global spiritual movement going on?
Yeah, and it's spontaneous.
I think if you're going to ink your body up, it should be something that's going to be lasting and something that's going to mean something to you.
For people who have tattoos, it's a representation of themselves on their skin.
The tattoos that you have on your skin, they're yours and they cannot be taken away and they're yours forever.
I have absolutely no desire to, be apologetic about the way that I am.
For as long as I could remember, I always wanted to be a tattooed person.
I don't accept anything less than perfect when it comes to a tattoo.
Do you think you ever get tired of tattoos?
Probably not.
My 18th birthday, that's all I ever wanted to do was get a tattoo.
Tattooing has become the transformational ritual of choice.
Any other tattoos planned for the future?
Definitely. I still want to finish my waist,
Above my thighs, get my other arm done, all sleeved out.
the tops of my feet,
My kneecaps behind my knees.
and the back of both of my calves.
So maybe I'll go for the whole bodysuit,
Like this.